All right, everyone. Welcome back to a Spotlight Show. We have Adrian Jackson here. Adrian is a man of many talents, as you'll find out when we read his background here. But I hope you'll welcome to the show, Adrian. We're going to talk about the Boys Ranch. We're going to talk about his new book, and we're just going to get into some life and some real stuff. So, Adrian, welcome to the show.
Hey, welcome, and thank you very much for having me on. And I am looking forward to this conversation.
Yeah, man. Okay, well, let me introduce you a little bit better there. So today we have an incredible guest, Adrian Jackson, hailing from Lake Charles, Louisiana. Adrian is a former collegiate basketball star turned passionate youth advocate. I think that's so fantastic. You have a bachelor's degree in business administration from Oklahoma, and Adrian has been a driving force in Cal Farley's Boys Ranch since 1997. That is dedication. That is long-term dedication. I love it. He started as a house parent with his wife, and is now the vice president of Home Life, where he looks over intervention services, adventure, and recreation. Adrian has recently begun branching out with being a bird dog trainer. We're going to talk about that. That's exciting. And he's earned national recognition with his poker straight kennel. Awesome. In addition to all this, Adrian is a co-author in the Amazon bestseller, The Impact of Influence, Volume 8. Adrian's journey is all about service, growth, and making a lasting impact on the lives of children. So welcome, Adrian Jackson, to the show. All right, man.
You. Hey, how you doing, Drew?
Yeah. So we always start the show off with a little bit of get to know you here. There's no wrong answers, right? Just wrong people. I mean, so here's the lead in here. So these are rapid fire questions here. We're just going to see what you think here. Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Tea. Rock or country music?
Country music.
Country music, my man. I love it. Okay. Do-it-yourself project or buy it finished?
DIY, baby. Do it yourself.
All right. Window seat or aisle seat?
Oh, aisle seat. I'm 6 foot. I like to stretch out.
Here we go. Okay. How about just be relevant here? Deadpool or Wolverine?
Wolverine.
Oh, with passion, Wolverine. I love it.
Wolverine.
All right. Is cereal a soup? Yes or no? No, cereal's not a soup. I love it. All right. How about a hot dog? Is a hot dog a sandwich?
Yes.
All right.
That's a good one, though. That's a good one. Yeah, I love it.
Let's need a debate on that one. Does pineapple belong on pizza?
No.
All right, you, my daughter, she calls it pizza. Ketchup in the fridge or in the cupboard? Ketchup in the fridge or the cupboard?
Hey, in the Black community, it's in the fridge, baby.
It's in the fridge?
In the fridge.
My house.
You open it, it goes in the fridge.
That's funny. All right, I think you've passed pretty well. We got one more just to cause some tension with the viewers. Can you please pronounce these 3 words?
Data or data mean gift.
I like
gift.
I'm a data mean gift. That's what I do. I'm a data mean gift. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, cool. All right. Well, that's kind of the intro to the show here. Just get the juices flowing, get everybody kind of comfortable here. So talk to me. I mean, you've spent a lot of time dedicated to the same company, to the same mission, and that is kind of rare in our society. So what started that? So I'm assuming that's after college. So how did a college basketball player say, no, you know what I want to do? I want to go start this. And then what made you stick?
Okay. So I got married in college. Toledo, I got married when I was 19 years old, right out of, actually I went to Clarendon College first and played 2 years at Clarendon College in Clarendon, Texas. I met my wife, Toledo, and then I got a scholarship to Oklahoma Panhandle State University in Goodwill, Oklahoma. So after we graduated, my wife, her degree was in counseling, and my degree, of course, was in business. And so what we decided, hey, let's go follow your career. You've been up here with me playing while I was playing sports. So we found our way to Amarillo, and we come across Cal Farley's Boys Ranch. She applied, and I sat in the car. And then they came out and kept asking us, "Hey, do y'all want to be house parents?" I'm 22 years old. The answer is absolutely no. So I kept saying no, kept saying no. We went back to Goodwill to our house, and this is in December of 1996.
Okay.
And eventually we said yes. The best decision we ever made.
Oh man.
We moved to Cal Farley's in January 1997, January 6th specifically. And we were house parents in adolescent boys' home.
Oh
6
man.
months later, my wife became a caseworker. She was one of the first caseworkers at Cal Farley's. And then I was a single assistant. And then that led to me eventually moving to the structured home. The Responsible Leadership Program is the home where some of the most challenging kids were placed there so they can grow, develop, and be able to adjust to living on the campus. And that's when I started receiving training and being a
Oh,
youth
okay.
professional. And my supervisor, rest in peace, Steve Nelson, that's when I really started getting really good at working with at-risk youth and started getting trained. And so my thing was, once the fun ends, I will go ahead and go do something with my degree.
Okay.
And the fun never ended.
And the fun never ended.
Fun never ended. And over the years, I just got promoted, and promoted, and all the way to be a VP of home life. And what I do now is I'm over. We have a total of 26 homes. Not all of them are open right now due to staffing crisis, but we have 26 homes. We have the capacity for 400 kids. That's not our current number, but I'm overseeing the kids and the house parents, the direct care staff. And then also, as you listed, I've been trained in adventure experience, and I'm over that adventure department and recreation department. And what I'm most noted for is interventions, helping staff meet kids' needs. And so that is what I'm most noted for. So with that, I do trainings. So I'm Satori Alternative to Managing Aggression trainer. And I do that here on campus and at other facilities. I am one of the site trainers for neurosequential model therapeutics. That is with Dr. Bruce Perry, Child Trauma Academy in Houston. I'm also a trust-based and relational intervention practitioner through Dr. Karen Purvis Institute at TCU. And then one of the things I'm most proud of, I'm a life-based crisis intervention trainer, and that is through LSCI Institute. And so I do go and train at conferences on various different topics related to kids that have been impacted by complex trauma.
Mm.
And also here recently, I was at the Texas Network Youth Services Conference in Houston, and I did a training called Turn Down the Heat. And it's about managing your counter-aggression with students that can get you going. So on top of all that, I also am a very noted bird dog trainer, which we probably get into later. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm very dedicated to the mission and vision of Cal Farley's. And I also I give a lot of who I am today to the service of these youth and the staff. Today, my job is mainly staff development, and
Okay.
I work directly with the kids as much, but I like being very close to them because that's my passion.
Yeah, man. So how do these and I don't want to pry, I want to protect the kids that
Yeah.
go there, but how do the kids come there? And then what is kind of some of the magic that you guys can do um so that if the audience here has a kid or has an organization in town that connect, how can people connect to you? How do the kids come there? And what is some of the magic stuff you can do for them?
Yeah, and I think you flashed calfarley.org up on the screen just now, but that is a way to, if you want to have a servant heart and want to be a house parent, a counselor, we have maintenance departments. If you want to come and serve, go to that website and definitely join the team. It's an amazing team. So definitely join the team. Our kids come from everywhere. We are a no pay facility,
Oh,
and
wow.
we are our kids are placed by their manager conservators. So we are a gap between a home that's struggling and being interventions of Department of Family Protective Services or DHS. So our kids are placed by their parents here. What is very unique about Cal Farley's is that we have a public school. So
Oh,
our
cool.
school is like any 1A school, 2A school in Texas. We play all UIL sports. We have had kids go play collegiate sports. We have kids that go to engineering school. We have our kids get to participate like any other kid going to public school in Texas. It's just centered on our facility, which is several thousand acres north of Amarillo. So some of the things we do with kids is about relationship, right? So our model is to meet kids' needs. In fact, our model is a twofold model. We have a model of leadership and service, which you will see on our website. And that model is specifically about how we meet the needs of the kids and the staff. So my job is to make sure the staff is safe, and we also make sure the kids are safe. Our staff is make sure the kids belong and connected. And so that whole model is a twofold model of ensuring that we're allowing the kids to grow and the staff to grow. But we really like to focus on developing relationships, wholehearted relationships that promote change.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at the website right now, and I thought I'd saved it in my questions here. You have a three main core values there. Um, can you rattle those off the top of your head? I apologize for kind of putting you on the spot here.
Well, you kind of put me on the spot, and I'm not looking at the website
Oh, here
right
I've
now.
got it.
So we
We have
got a lot of information on there. So
Yeah, it's a great website.
yes,
I really encourage the folks, if you're watching this, go check this out and see if your heart is calling you to connect with them. So you have a strength-based approach,
yes,
and you have a model for leadership and service, and then
yes.
informed care. So
Okay,
of the yeah.
yes. So
Strength-based approach. Talk me through
so
that.
we're a Christ-centered organization,
Okay.
non-denominational facility where we model that through how we interact with others. So we model that Christ-centered. Kids don't get sent here to get preached to; they get sent here to get loved on, and we love
Mm,
on them in a Christ-centered way. The model leadership and service is what I talked about a little bit earlier about meeting those unmet needs, or needs that are being met inappropriate. So we allow those kids to grow and their needs to be met. And the third is trauma informed. So those things that I mentioned about being those relationships with Dr. Bruce Perry and Dr. Karen Purvis, we inform those relationships, and that information informs our training. It informs our policies and procedures. It informs everything that we do, that we take a trauma-centered approach, that we understand what those kids have been through. We double down and really understand, and we deliver our interventions to that. So a very trauma-informed care where we use that information to do what we do out here.
no, I love that. I think taking time to understand the kids is so important. Now, you said that you were in charge of adventures. What sort of
Yeah,
adventurous stuff do you adventure
adventure
with?
department. Yeah. So, hey, that canoeing and backpacking, that
Yeah.
we've had kids that we have staff that takes kids to Wheeler Peak, and
Okay.
some at Wheeler Peak. We have our challenge course that includes low and high elements. We incorporate adventure, experiential learning in what we do. Everything that we do is experiential learning. But we have some dedicated staff that takes kids through activities, some just for fun, and some with intentionality to gain insight. So yeah, the adventure department is a very important department here. It's the department that gets to have fun with kids and go do stuff. You know,
That's cool.
yeah,
I'm an Eagle Scout, so Boy Scouts was a
yes,
big part of my life growing up, and I got to do some high adventure stuff. Stuff away from adults, stuff with adults,
yeah.
and then stuff away from adults. And finding your spot through adventure is a great way to connect,
It's
especially
amazing.
for young men. Especially
It's
for young men.
amazing. Mhm.
Um, And you've had some great successes. You have folks that are becoming engineers. You have folks going on to college ball. Which are, I mean, again, I want to protect the kids, but tell me some of your favorite stories about some transformations that have occurred, either with the kids or with the staff.
Yeah. Well, a couple come to mind. One, and we have a YouTube channel, and you can see some of this. We got a very amazing STEAM program, and we have our
Okay.
own airspace. Our kids make their own rockets,
Oh,
make
that's
carbon
cool.
out of carbon fiber, not out of cardboard. They make their own rocket fuel. So
Oh,
we have,
wow.
yes, some super high level stuff, right? And so we had a young lady that was struggling to adjust on campus, and she ended up finding her way in that program. And
Mm,
I can't quite remember exactly the record she broke, but she broke the high school girls record for her rocket height,
well,
30,000 feet or something like that. And so that is just a many things like that a young person get to do by coming here. They get to have experiences they can't have nowhere else. Like, where else can you go make your own rocket fuel, a rocket out of
yeah.
carbon fiber, and go shoot in airspace at heights that no other. You can also you can make the camera that's going to be in the rocket. You can, it's just every facet of it you get to go and do. Also, so that's one amazing program, because that young lady would have never got to do that
No.
if she
I
didn't.
mean, I'm pretty sciencey. We do some pretty nerdy things in my house, and we haven't done any of those things yet. That's pretty exciting.
Yeah, you would fall in love with this department. Like, when I have personal guests come, I take them over there, because this is just amazing. It's amazing to me. It's so amazing. I can't even explain it. I have to show you. Like, I have to take them up there. Like, hey, there's this program that has just got all this really cool stuff. And the facilitators program is just an amazing guy, former IBM person. And it's just like, I got to go show you. Like, I can't never. And most time I don't even know what that stuff is. Like, it's just such amazing. The kids just break amazing amount of ceilings to do that. And one of our COO, Mark Strother, that was a vision of his, is to give these kids some higher level learning and
Yeah.
higher level experiences. He brought the ropes course here. He brought the STEAM program here. We got aquaponics and hydroponics greenhouses, where kids get to understand that portion of it. And
That's
so,
awesome.
the creating their own apps, and making tiny houses and that kind of stuff. So just, that vision that came, I don't know, about 12, 13 years ago, been just an amazing thing. And you could see the kids. So we have a program for every kid need. So we have, yes, the athletics, we have the theater, but
Oh,
now
cool.
we have horses. So we have the rodeo and riding. We got ranch and feedlot. We eat the beef that we raise here on campus.
Oh,
You
that's
know,
cool.
yeah. And so, the kid can participate in every piece of that. Every piece, even from to the slaughter and to the cooking. So we have that, and so there's no stone left unturned for when we're trying to meet the kids' need and help them get involved in something, finding their purpose, finding their passion. And that was one of the things I think is very unique about Cal Farley's. It's one of the things that uh, I think allows us to have success, and the surrounding our donors and our supporters. I think they want us to continue that. So become a supporter of Boys Ranch.
Yeah. So I'm going to take a moment there. We're just going to pause for the show. Hey, if this has touched your heart, or if you're excited about this, if you either have a kid that needs this sort of opportunities, or if you're at a spot in your life where you can give to it, or where you can, maybe you're being called to the staff here, I really want you to think about this. I mean, everything that we've just talked about here, everything that Adrian's brought up, giving kids an opportunity to experience success on their terms in a way that connects with them, and to see that their past doesn't have to be their past, and there's no limits for the future. I think it's an amazing mission. So check it out, calfarleys.org, and go check it out. I'm going to riff kind of off that. You said you had capacity for 400 kids, but you don't have 400 kids.
Yes. Yes.
what are your two roadblocks that are preventing us from giving this opportunity to more kids?
Well, there's mainly one. We got to have
Okay.
staff. We got to have house
Yeah.
parents. We got to have people that want to come do this mission. And the house parents are the backbone of the organization. They're where the rubber meets the road. And it's just good, hard, loving folks that want to come work with our kids and learn professional parenting in a Christ-centered environment. And you live here. You have a home that's connected to the kids' homes, and we need more house parents. We have both couples and singles, and
Okay.
so and this is an amazing community, you know. And so you get, just like any small town, you get to come cheer on the football team on Friday. You get to take your kids um, to Colorado, to Oklahoma City on trips. But you also get to teach the kids about. You get to show them first that you get to model the love for Jesus through your interactions with them. You get to model that, right? You get to show them. You get to show them difference, where they started at and where they can go, and you get to model appropriateness, manners, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And also you grow yourself. You become a better person. You become a more balanced and centered. You learn things about yourself. You have never, in fact, my chapter in the Impact and Influence talk about, hey, how I had self-reflecting moments by working here, you know,
Yeah.
and how I grew as a person. How I became a better husband, a better father, a better friend. And so, but yeah, house parents, we need house parents. And
So let me just throw some things out here and you can say yes or no. You would take a single house parent.
yes,
You would take a married house parent.
yes,
You would take guys. You would take girls,
yes,
right? You would take somebody that's 22 like yourself.
yes,
You would take somebody that's 46.
yes,
You take somebody that's 65.
yes.
All right. So if you are in those categories and you think you might be interested, reach out to Adrian or reach out to Cal Farley's, because they need you. You fit the profile of a house parent. Anyway, that's just calling out my crew here.
Thank you very much, actually, because we really need house parents. And so
Yeah.
I'm glad we got to talk about this part, because you know, when we started going back and forth, it was not about this part. So I'm glad this is a part of it, because we really need house parents.
Yeah.
And that's how we get to that higher capacity.
You know, and I'll just kind of challenge the audience here. I think that COVID affected us all in a lot of ways, but it affected us in our service. I think that I mean, I'll be honest, I'm an extreme extrovert and I have to force myself to leave the house these days. Because I kind of like being in my house. I got my stuff, I like my world. But no, I think that the calling of impact, the calling of transformation, the calling of Christ to be his hands and feet is out there. It's not in my basement. I mean, maybe a little bit in my basement, but not very much. Mostly it's out there. And so I just want to challenge the audience here. Adrian has spent how many years of your life now? I mean, this is 20,
I'm going on 28. I'm at
28 years of your
27 and a
life.
half years, going heading to 28.
And the kids, what age, like, or grade do they normally come in at, and when do they normally leave?
5 to 16, they graduate 18 or so. But we can take a 5-year-old and keep them all the way through. We have alumni department that can help them when they leave Boys Ranch. In fact, our alumni department helps you even if you're 50. If you fall on hard times, we can help you. So once you're a Cal Farley kid, you're a Cal Farley kid.
See, that's beautiful to give people a true lifelong family.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do one more profile real quick. Would you take a house parent that has their own kids?
Yes.
Okay.
Got to be school age. Got to be
whoever
school
was
age.
out there, it'll take you too. Just think about it.
Got to be school age, but yes.
All right, man. This is a cool mission. I'm excited about it. I love that you've been consistent in it for like you've given a lifetime to it. And you're somebody that came in it with a lot of success. You had the basketball background, and you're still growing and connecting with it. I'm super excited about that. But now I want to talk about your other adventures. Not only the life that you've poured out into these kids, Do you have dogs? So talk to
Yeah.
me. How did you get into the dogs? What do you do with them? Tell me about some of your awards.
Oh yeah. So it's interesting, I got into bird dogs.
Okay.
I did 1 year of hunting pheasant in Goodwill, Oklahoma, and the surrounding areas of the Oklahoma Panhandle without a dog. And then someone told me, "Hey, you can hunt those with dogs."
Yeah.
So I purchased my first dog in that summer, and man, me and Mike, a German short hair male, I got him from Dr. Mike Kendall, and who I'm still really good friends with today. Um,
And that
that
was
actually started our friendship when I purchased that dog for $50.
and what
And
year was that?
I know I played with that dog. I had so much fun with that dog. By the end of the summer, a rancher stopped me, and I might have been trespassing. He stopped me and he says, "You can hunt on my land if you take another dog." And of course, I'm just ate up with a pointing dog, right? Their
Okay.
ability to point. I was just in awe of it. And I said, "Yes, sir. I'll do that." And it was a German short hair female,
Okay.
Christy. And I hunted with those two dogs and kind of started guiding a little bit before I graduated. But I got infatuated with the bird dogs. Um, I come to Boys Ranch and I learned about quail hunting in
Okay.
Texas Panhandle, full of bobwhite quail.
Yeah.
And but these guys had English pointers, and I had German short hairs, and them dogs are kicking my dog's butt. So I thought I had a really good dog. I come to find out there's better dogs. So I did what every guy like me would do. I went and got an English pointer. Um, and so one dog led to two dogs led to three dogs.
Uh-oh.
And I'm hunting, I'm guiding, I'm starting to guide quail hunts
Yeah.
and some of the major ranches in West Texas, in the Texas Panhandle. And about 99, I started training. A gentleman from Houston took a risk with me and sent me some dogs. He liked the way my dogs looked and sent me some dogs. And I was working those dogs for $200 a month, which, it was enough to like, hey,
Yeah.
we were eating a little bit better. We were eating a little bit better, right?
Yeah. Yeah. We'll slide hustle going.
Bringing
Yeah.
in an extra $1,200 a month. And
Yeah.
he liked my dogs, the way I trained them. And he told other people. And that embarked into a fairly large kennel. At some point, you get to thinking, like, because I'm an athlete, you get to thinking, am I the best? Right?
No,
So
I had this
competition was
epiphany.
next, right? So competition was next. So I went to a
I had this
couple.
epiphany, like this has been about a decade now, but I was talking to somebody and they kind of had this frowny look on their face, and I was like, that was weird. I got reflecting on the moment, and I was like, wait a minute, maybe I'm competitive. And so
Yeah,
I
yeah,
tried it out with my wife,
yeah,
and she was like, really? You think
yeah.
you're competitive?
So yeah, so next thing you know, I'm competing.
Yeah.
And I competed first in what they call NSDRA. It's a 40-acre kind of a run and gun kind of trial.
Okay.
It just didn't suit me. So I ended up doing National Bird Hunters Association and American Bird Hunters Association. And I won the national championship with a dog called Nemaha Butterfly, which is you compete against other dogs, but you only compete against one dog at a time against the field, and you run an hour, and then you make the call back, and you run another hour. So I won the national championship. I'm most noted for a dog, an English setter called Poker Straight Flash, who won two regional championships, Dog of the Year, which led me to be Handler of the Year, multiple classic winners. I came back and I won the National Open Invitational, the inaugural running of the National Open Invitational, with a dog called Poker Straight Jet Star. And he is a sibling to multiple champions. So out of a dog called Barker's Blue Jet. So he is very attached to multiple champions. And then my last dog that I did a lot of winning with was two-time runner-up champion Richfield Turbo, that was purchased out of Rhode Island, and he came to Texas and just tore it up. I won numerous of juvenile stakes, Texas Dog Derby of the Year multiple times. and I started running some horseback stakes. Mostly noted for I've trained a lot of winners and champions and just hunting dogs a lot.
So
I've
is
started a
is there a
lot.
lot of is there a lot of transfer between training winning kids and training winning dogs?
100%. And in fact, this whole book writing venture, right? I've been writing my own book, and it's about that very point, about the intersection between working with kids that have experienced complex trauma and working with bird dogs, because it's about repetition. Um, it's about helping them regulate, and it's about for me, it's about analyzing and understanding what the dog needs. And so, yeah, and what I caught myself doing, Drew, is when I was given an analogy about a kid, I used a dog analogy of something
Oh
I learned.
yeah,
And then vice versa, when I was talking to
yeah.
somebody about a dog, I was using something I learned from work. And so and also about training very sequential, where you start here and you build on that, you build on it. And so you just don't all of a sudden have a kid transform. You have to have, there's very sequential things that takes place. Same thing with a dog. You don't just all of a sudden work them one time and they're steady. You do something very sequential. And so different people have given me guidance philosophically throughout the way, and what I have applied it was interesting that a lot of the bird dog philosophy I used in childcare, and I give you a great example of that. One of my mentors, Jim Nugent, he's watched me train, and he said to me, he said, "Hey, why are you trying to teach that dog something? Be careful what else you might teach him."
Ooh, all right. Well, pause. Say that one more time for me.
So why are you trying to teach that dog something? Be careful of what else you might teach him.
Man, that's deep right there.
So
Man.
that went straight to childcare. That went straight to childcare, right? So why are you trying to teach a young person about manners? You don't want to teach them to fear you. When you're trying to teach them
Mhm.
about grace, you don't want to teach them hatred. So yeah, so it's about your technique of teaching something. Like, why you're trying to teach them something. You don't want them to come out and says, "Hey, Adrian is not a very good guy. He's not very nice." And I'm just trying to teach him responsibility, but you don't want to teach him other messages. And that's the same thing with a bird dog, right? You're trying to teach a dog something. You don't want to teach them to fear you, or that you can't be trusted, or whatever the case may be. That goes both ways with young people and animals.
Yeah, I had somebody. I'm. I had a thought there, but I'm still kind of just stuck on your statement. You don't want to teach them something else. That's so good, man. Yeah, when I was at so leadership, the reason that I got into leadership was when I was young, dad, I'd go to work and I would have these, I would say I get up and I put pacifiers in, and then I go to work and I put pacifiers in.
Yeah, yeah,
In
yeah,
my
yeah,
life.
yeah, yeah,
And the way that I parented my kids, definitely was how I led at work. In fact, I would say the way you do anything is the way you do everything, right?
yeah,
And we just got a dog. So we didn't have dogs my whole life. We have 4 kids. We didn't have dogs or any. We grew up on a farm, and our parents are super into horses. And if you want, if you have the choice between horses and like hard drugs are way cheaper.
yeah. And I have 4 horses.
Yeah, they're expensive. Anyway,
Yeah,
I had to muck the stalls, and I love horses, like they're God's creation. I think they're great, but not enough to muck their stalls every day, right? So
yeah,
I was like, peace,
yeah,
I'm out. I don't want any animals. We got kids, I'm fine. But we just got Woody. He's just a mutt. He's a half Labrador Basset Hound. And man, the Lord teaches me much stuff. Like this 4th of July with all the fireworks that went off, And so they only go off at night. So Woody's afraid to leave the house. And I look at that dog and I'm like, buddy, you're safe with me. It's just
yeah,
fine. Right. And so animals, as an adult, I feel like, I just feel the Lord saying stuff to me about how he takes care of me. And I'm like, I don't think I'd understood that lesson if it wasn't for the dog.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. And you got to be paying attention. That's the other side
yeah.
of it. Like, yeah, you got to be paying attention to those lessons
Yeah.
when they come up, because you can miss them because they're subtle. You know, they can fly right by you.
So you say you do training, you train dogs, you train students, you train the leaders at the camp. Do you do external training as well? Do you like go
Yes,
and train in the
I
community?
do. I like to stick to the things that like going and training verbal de-escalation, or in the bird dog world. I do a seminar where I train about wall breaking, and I'm specifically there's a technique that I'm most noted around the world. It's about putting the dog up on a barrel and styling them up and that kind of stuff. So everybody wants to learn that. They just got to learn that barrel technique. Um,
Okay.
but in the child care field, LSCI, life space crisis intervention, how complex trauma, how the early experiences impact a young person. Current functioning, and it's about paying attention to their trauma and their trauma history, and that kind of stuff. So yes, I do like to go out, and I do like to attend and participate in workshops and conferences and stuff like that.
So, and there's no way that you can train us here on the show, in a minute. But for the folks watching, what are some signals that folks can look at and be like, "Hey, this is something that needs really trauma intervention versus this is
Yeah,
just a kid being a kid." Can you give me some red
yeah,
flags or
I
some
can.
signs? Yeah,
So when
I'm
you are when you are nervous, when you get some information that um, makes you your body start to have some experiences, right? So
Yep.
when
Okay.
you so Drew, when you get agitated, what does that look like? What would I physically see?
Mm, for me, I slow down because my
Okay.
stress response is to just calm down and take things one step at a time.
Yeah.
Um, I have asthma, and so oftentimes when I get nervous, I feel my chest tighten.
Yeah.
There's a strong correlation for me between those two emotions.
Yeah.
In, yeah,
Go
yeah.
ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Um, I've had a couple of folks that have been. We went through a bankruptcy with a business partner, and there was a lot of anger that
Yeah.
was connected to that. And I used to feel, and I don't know that very many people have gotten this mad at people, but I used to feel my knuckles. Like whenever I
Yeah.
thought of this guy, my
Yeah.
knuckles would hurt. Like I
Yeah.
could feel, I don't know how to describe it. I could feel energy, like just like pulse
Yeah.
in my
Yeah.
hand.
Yeah. So what those are antecedent behaviors, right? There's things that is occurring in your body.
Yeah.
And so at that moment, when you start to get your knuckles getting tight and your chest getting tight, what's going through your mind? What are you thinking?
Mm, I guess my world kind of dilates. I think about the person I'm mad at,
Yeah. Yeah.
or I start like, we take breath for granted.
Yeah.
And then like when I'm frustrated or I feel nervous or tight, I'm like, do I have enough oxygen? And all these questions. I guess maybe I'm indexing my resources. I'm saying, do I have
Yeah.
enough oxygen? Do I need to move? Do I need to do something about this?
Yeah. So when you experience that, that is the prime time to intervene. When you see somebody that. So what I would do is I would say, Drew, I can see you kind of breathing hard. You kind of mess with your fingers a little bit. You kind of hyper focus. Are you angry? And you will
Mm,
respond, well, what would you say?
no.
I can see that. I can see that's angry. What are you feeling at this moment?
Yeah. And I would say, well, I feel, I'm just mad about whatever. I'm not really like with my kids, especially comes out as I'm not
Yeah.
mad. And then you say, well, how you feeling? They're like, well, I'm frustrated
Yeah.
at. Yeah.
Yeah. So then I would respond and say, Drew, I can see that you're frustrated. What are you frustrated about?
Right. And I'd be like, I'm frustrated that this business deal is not going as fast as I thought it was going to go, or I feel like this guy is not holding up to his end of the bargain like he promised to.
Yeah. So you're frustrated that your business partner not holding up his responsibility and the business deal is not going well. What do you want?
In that case, I just want him to be honest about honestly, in that case, I'd been like, I just want him to be honest about the fact that he's out of control and that he needs help so that we can come in and help. I'm tired of him hiding stuff. If he would
Yeah.
just show me what's going on, I can help him.
Yeah. What have you tried to get to that?
Um, Mainly got mad at him. I don't know that I really reached out to him and said it in those terms.
Yeah. So how well is getting mad at him working out?
Not very well.
Yeah. So what are you willing to do to feel the way you want to feel?
Mm, I could give him a call and set a meeting to sit down with him and go over this stuff.
And
Yeah.
that's an amazing option. Amazing option. Are there any other options?
I mean, on the one side, we could go start getting a lawyer, or we could bring in somebody else. Not
Yeah.
not at a lawyer stage, but somewhere in the middle, somebody that we both respect, and start having the conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. Are there anything else that you might can do?
I mean, I could write him an email, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Out of those three things you listed, which of those options are you going to do?
Probably write him an email.
Okay. So what might be in that email that will get to the point that you want to get to? What would you write in that email?
I would say, I'm gonna call him Jerry because I don't,
Yeah.
other people know him, right? I'd say, Jerry, I am frustrated that you've not met the deadlines that we've set here, and I really need to see the financials. I need to see the P&L statement because there is a disconnect between what I'm seeing and what you're saying, and I need that to be resolved. And I need it to be resolved with the P&L, not with the words that you've been using. I need to see the data.
Okay. You need anybody to read it over with you, go through that email with you, make sure it's saying what you're saying, or do you think that email would work out for you?
So today, no. Back then, 100%.
100%. All right. So what we just did was, so so I did a very structured de-escalation technique called the assisting process. It was created by Larry Hampton of Satori Learning. It's one of the primary tools we use as a first responder de-escalation technique. And I went straight down the pipe. We do teach that here on campus. That structured technique I've been doing for 9 years. I have used it in my personal life. It works very well. And I went straight down. So you asked for a 1-minute training example, and we just did the assisting process.
No, I thought it was great. Yeah. There's so many things that I liked about that process. One is it was non-judgmental. Like, you weren't telling me I was wrong or that I needed to settle down, right? That I think so many times we meet the aggression and we tell them, you're wrong, you're stupid, you need to settle down, you're overreacting, some version of a guilt trip, like, this is wrong with you, and you need to obey to a lot of times in trauma, I want you to settle down because I'm uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm the person that's supposed to be helping, but I'm forcing you to make me feel comfortable. It's just,
that's 100% what happens, and the way Larry liked to explain it is the de-escalation is like a dance where both people, the helper and the person that is in crisis, they both want to have a high sense of power and control. And so it's like a back and forth. That's why I don't say, Drew, you look mad. Are you mad? I don't say that. I say, Drew, I can see you move back. I describe a behavior, and then I ask you, how are you feeling?
Yeah.
And so what most people miss is observing those behaviors, right? It's those subtle shifts. So when your wife walks into the house, because how long I've been married, what's going on, right?
I know that step, right?
Yeah,
like
right. Yeah, you know it, right? And so
if
you said this, right? If you said this, think of this. If you said, honey, you look mad, what is your wife is going to say? And she's going to say, I'm not mad. When you and her both know darn well she's mad, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So instead of saying that, you said, honey, I can see you coming in, you drop your purse, you sat hard on the couch, is anything going on with your day today? So that is how these trainings is how I became a better husband, because typically I would do like everybody else. Honey, you look mad. And then she would have said, I'm not mad. And I would have then said, because you threw your purse, I know you're mad. Just tell me what's up. Trying to be helpful. But in terms, she's going to end up saying this: if you ask me that again, I'm going to get mad.
Yep. I'm not saying I've
Right?
heard that, but yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, so this is like husband training 101, right?
That's,
Yeah, don't do any of that, right? And then next thing you know,
yeah,
I'm mad because I was trying to help, you know.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, so
And now we're
instead
mad
of
at each
doing that,
other.
yeah. So it's so because of that, because of the assisting process, I was able to interact with my spouse in a more helpful way. I was able to interact with my kids in a more healthy way, and also I'll be able to de-escalate without the incident escalating. So yeah, so some of these things are just like life-changing trainings, you know, that yeah, you get it for this reason, but don't just leave it, don't drop it when you come to your doors to your house. In fact, I did it like that before. I would be the greatest childcare worker, come home, and then I would leave all that at work, right? And then
Yeah,
I'm in
yeah, yeah,
power struggle. I'm in every power struggle that I've been training people not to get in at work. I'm in those same power struggles at home because
yeah. 'Cause it's just you and people.
I left my training at work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think there's also an inertia to that, and I think this has to do with training animals as well. If every time you get into a situation, it's the friction escalates,
yeah,
eventually you forget, and you're just used to the pattern of escalation and frustration. Whereas if you're always the person that de-escalates the situation, just your you could say the same thing as somebody else, but because you're the de-escalator, there's a trust that gets built over time
exactly.
where we find ourselves, oh, we're okay. Well, we can come back because I know Adrian. He can. It's
Yeah,
okay for me to admit that I'm wrong because the pattern is that the conversation de-escalates when we're together, as
yeah,
opposed to the pattern is that we always escalate, right? And that's with your employees at work too. Really, as a leader at work, and work is a giant tension ball, right? Everything that happens at work is one problem after the other because that's what you're doing. You're trying to move the mountain. You're trying to roll the boulder uphill, and it's full of pitfalls.
yeah. You know,
So,
as a leader, your majority of your day is managing information, both good and bad information.
mhm.
You're you're taking in, everybody's giving you information, and you have to eventually filter out some kind of decision or choice or guidance or whatever the case may be. And the more you can streamline your information, and what I like to do is create time. Like I you get information, I like to create time and then be able to process it, you know. And what I sometimes people have in leadership role have a hard time saying at the moment, I need to research this. Like I need to really think about it. They want to give an answer so quick so they can, they can maintain their top level that they sometimes forget to consult with the people that may have a better answer. And so
uh,
being able to use your team, and so as a leader, I learned from others how Mark specifically how to build a team. So once you can have a team of people you trust, they know you, they know how you think. You build that team, and then use that team as your decision making tree. And you don't have to be structured that way, but build a team that way. You could say that team, even though you may be the higher position in that, but you use that team to help filter information, gather information, and come to healthy conclusions.
no, that's good, man. I know that as a leader, when I hit about 20 people, so many problems would filter up to me every day that
Yes.
I'm a calm person, and so I would tell myself, "Oh, I'm a calm person. I'll hold this, or I'll solve this, or I'll hold this, but I won't let it out."
Yeah.
And then I got to a spot where my boss had to pull me aside, and he was like, "You got problems. You need to work on this. If you
Yeah.
don't fix this, I have to remove you." And so it sent me on a journey of anger management.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't think management's the right word because if you manage something, you're kind of like keeping it. And you have to learn. I love the way you said it. All these signals are just information.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I got to as a leader. I wouldn't have said it that way until this conversation, but somebody brings up a problem, maybe a problem that they caused, and I had to learn to just forgive them and say, "Thanks for bringing me the information."
Yes.
And now, and like this moment right now, we're forgiving it. Like it's over,
Yes.
it's done with. I'm not mad at you. I've let, so rather than anger management, it was anger cleansing. Like I've let
Yeah.
it go. And then you and I both are men of faith. And so there, Christ has a big piece of that puzzle.
Yeah.
Um, let me change the conversation because we're kind of running out of time here. Where do you want to, you've written this book. It's a bestseller. That's fantastic. Congratulations, by the
Thank
way. If I had a magic wand, who should read the book and what should people do with it? Like, what's the next stage for the book and the training and the kids for you? How can we set you on the course to your destiny where you feel like you're being pulled to over the next 3 or 5 years?
Well, when I got asked by Chip Baker to be one of the co-authors in the volume 8 of Impact of Influence, I had been, like I said, I've been struggling with my own book, staying focused and being organized. And one of the things he said to me was, hey, this will help you gain more focus on your own book. It's not as big of a task. It's only one chapter, except you got 7 days to write it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and so I started my journey of writing this book, and it was going terrible. Actually, I started on a Monday. By Wednesday, it's going terrible.
I love the honesty in this story. And
Yeah.
actually, for those in the audience, it's okay to be like, I got to write a chapter in a best-selling book as well, and I can attest to this. It is not a trivial task, and you get really discouraged really easily. But it's common to have trouble with it. Anyway, go ahead, man.
Yeah, but by Wednesday, something amazing happened. Right, I hadn't thought about this. The book, the focus point was the people that impacted your leadership style. I hadn't thought about that so much that it's just an amazing amount of growth and transformation was occurring over 72 hours. Like amazing amount. More than I ever thought, right? So by Wednesday night, and I was working at my job at Cal Farley's. I go to my kennel around 5:30. This time of year, I train till dark 30. I come home, clean up, and I go right from 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock. So that's how I drafted this chapter. And but by Wednesday, I was like, you know what? I'm going to write for the people that I want to read it. So the people I wrote about, I just wrote the chapter for them. And
all right.
What I thought was going to happen is Chip and his publisher going to say, hey, man, that chapter is trash. And thank you, but we're gonna go on. And I was going to print it out and give the white page to my mother. My father's passed. I wrote about my mother and father, and a couple of my supervisors, Michelle, Steve, who just recently passed, and Mark. And I thought I was just going to give it to them. And I had came to 3 points in that chapter, and but I thought that's what I was going to do. So I wrote the chapter for them. And when I did my first word count on Friday, I had 3,700 words and supposed to have 2,400.
Ooh.
So the only way you get there is you start deleting. You don't just reword, rephrase. You have to delete. So
yeah, man.
I had to go Saturday and late Sunday. I just deleted, and then I came to my 3 points in my book. I went to 2,300 words. I came to 3 points in my chapter, and I wanted to focus on 3 important areas of leadership. One was being teachable, being reachable, and being respectable. And that was the 3 points that I came to. And with reachable, I've been asked a lot about that one, and it's all about characteristics. And so coming to, carry yourself in a way where somebody sees you and says, hey, that young man, that young lady, I want to pour into them. Like carry yourself in a way where people want to pour into you. They want to lend you a hand up. Like, you don't, if you carry yourself in a certain way, you don't have to ask. If you work hard, if you are diligent, you're on time, you are dressed nice, or whatever, you speak in a certain way, you're respectful, you're kind. People are going to say, hey, I like that person. I like how he carries himself. I like how hard he works. Let me do something for him. And I've had that my whole life. And my mom, and where I started my chapter from, is my mom and dad instilled that in me, right?
Mm.
And so, and so one of the things you know, a lot of people use being coachable, and I thought about that way. But why I like teachable is because when somebody coaching you, they're going to give you one plan, right? When I was being coached, was given an offense. I was given, hey, here's a play or a playbook, right? But when you're being teachable, people giving you philosophy, right? They're giving you things that they hold deeper for certain people, right? They holding that, like, hey, I'm gonna give you an A and a B, but I want way deeper than that, right? So carry yourself in a way where people see you and says, hey, that guy's teachable. I want to give him the philosophical aspects of it. I want to give him the do's and the don'ts. I want to give him the pitfalls and the challenges. I want to mentor him. I want to connect them with people. And because you begin to be a reflection of them. So teachable, reachable, and respectful is that you want to, when people pouring into you and they introduce you to others, then you are a reflection of them. They're only going to do that at a deeper level with somebody that's going to represent them, just like you will do, just like I will do. I'm going to get deeper with people that's going to represent me and what I stand for. And then when they say, hey, this guy was mentored by Adrian Jackson, he's going to exhibit the same qualities they expecting from Adrian Jackson. And so that's my summation to my chapter. I like my chapter. I read it all the time. And hopefully, with the hopes of this is that I hope that I get invited by other authors that wants to do the same, like Chip Baker. And it is helping me be focused on my own body of work. But I also want to get out and I want to speak more. I want to tell my journey of how I got to this point. I was raised in the housing projects in Lake Charles, Louisiana, and there were many years I never told anybody that because I wanted to fear judgment. But after some reflection and growth, I embrace it. I want the world to embrace where I came from, and because what made me who I am today is where I started. So,
no, it's it's a big part of your story, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
That is, man, this has been such a good show. I'm going to cut it off early because you should always leave the audience wanting.
Yes.
So just as a recap here, if you are called to helping boys in crisis, reach out to Carl Farley's. I'm going to put the website back up here. And remember, we need house parents. We got 400. We have capacity for 400 kids, and there are a number of kids that aren't being served because we need house parents. So if that's you, if you're young, if you're old, if you're married, if you're single, if you have kids, if you don't have kids, if you're an empty nester, that means you're being called to it right now. So reach out to that. Go check out Adrian's book. It is The Impact of Influence, Volume 8. The Impact of Influence, Volume 8. Here's the Amazon link, though it's completely weird. And if you're into pointer dogs, give Adrian a call. But that is an addiction that I'm not going to start. So.
Hey, next time we can talk about the racing pigeons.
Now we got racing pigeons too. All right,
we got racing pigeons. Yeah, so
we're gonna close out before we get into that one. Adrian, thank you so much for being on the show. I can't wait to have you back.